All right, guys, so we had a great morning where we did some short game stuff, and then everybody got an analysis and hopefully have like an idea of the drills you have to use or whatever. One of the main things on the questionnaire for what people want to work on, so raise your hand if a driver you think needs to be more than a little better for you to get where you want to be for golf. Okay, so that's everyone. Even Kurt, even Kurt. So, sure, me too. So, so we didn't hit Milo. I don't think nobody hit any drivers this morning though.
Nope.
Okay. So now we're gonna concentrating specifically on drivers. So, Milo, I'll ask you, especially when it comes to so many people want to get open. Okay. And early in the day when we were doing our warm up, you were talking about hitting something horizontal like a baseball or something where you're open. The stuff that we learned in all the stuff that we're learning in the drills, what does anything change when it comes to driver, and also relate that to getting more open?
Setup changes,
Okay.
ball position changes, but nothing else really changes. So the stance will be wider, the ball will be a hair more forward, which gives you a little bit more time to get open. So if you look on my gears analysis at impact with irons, I'm quite a bit open, like 48 degrees open with my chest. With driver, I'm like
Most they ever measured?
Well, they've measured a few more guys who got more than me now.
Oh, okay. Used to be the most they ever measured.
The most they'd ever measured, but now that what's his name?
Jacqueline Neiman.
Wilco.
Nainaber, yeah.
He's a more open.
Okay.
And he hits it farther. So
Okay.
I don't know if it correlates, but
He's
I think
a foot
it probably
taller.
does. He's like this tall.
Yeah.
So, so ball position being slightly more forward allows you to open a little bit more, but the same dynamics hold true. You're still just getting out of the way. You're not trying to throw the head at the ball.
Are there long hitters that aren't open?
No.
Not really.
That's all relative. There's some that are less open than others,
Okay.
but everybody is some amount open.
Nobody's like square or
Nobody
closed.
on tour
Yeah.
is square.
Okay.
So
So what are the things like physically that determine how open you should try to get?
I don't know. It's not really something that I strive to get as open as possible.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just trying to put as much energy into the ball as I can in the right sequence. So I'm not trying to throw the club head at the ball out of the top. I'm trying to sequence motion correctly, put force into the ground correctly, and it naturally opens me out.
Okay. So hit a couple for me, and then I have some questions for you that some of the people were wondering.
My playing speed, like right now, is probably mid 120s, 123 to 125. If I sit here and try to go as fast as I can get up to close to 140, but I might not find the ball.
There you go.
Okay.
So Milo, my question is, because so in the first part of school, when I saw everybody like working on their swings, about half of them seem to be working on something in transition where the club is moving, pitching in more of this direction rather than that, right? So we have Fred's working on, raise your hand if you're working on in transition, some kind of the club pitching some kind of way. So that's about like 40% of our people.
Never this way.
Yeah, so it's never going this way. I know we talked about this before, but I wanted to get a finer point on it because you said to me that, I said, okay, are you doing this? And you said, no, things that my body are doing are making this happen.
Yeah.
So what in your body is making this happen so that eventually we don't have to actually like be torquing it like manually with our hands? We can get the right body work that makes the good stuff happen in transition.
Well, my body's opening up. Now, there's some dynamics here. Because this club is slightly more vertical than the plane my rotation's going to go in, so my rotation's going to go in this plane. The club's slightly more vertical, so the club wants to seek alignment. It wants to go toward that.
Line up with the force, right?
Yep, line up with the force that's being input into it.
Okay.
So I'm just not inputting a force this way with my hands. I'm just unwinding.
So I've heard from raise your hand if Milo has told you to do less with your hands at the top, less pulling from the top. So yeah, so that's about 60% of our school. So from the top. And then with the short game, we had also about 60% of guys and ladies with the chipping that right about here, they want to give it a little bit of a couple in their chipping. So we get that, you know. So actually with short game, you can go right hand only, or or some kind of one-handed, and that will kind of fix that. In the full swing, when we really want to hit it hard and we want that death grip on the steering wheel to make it go straight, what can we do to get that out? What are some actual drills and ways to get rid of that feeling of wanting to go that way, and just handle yank?
Good question. I like a lot of step drills just to feel how to make my body move ahead of the club. So as you can see, I step, the club follows. Anything like that to get motion happening before the golf club. But a lot of it's just practicing not hitting it hard for a while and learning how to make the club come along for the ride and not try to hit it.
So a lot of people say force before the motion and then the motion before the club. So the club's the last thing.
The club's last.
Hit one with a step drill that you like here. And after you hit that, talk to us a little bit about, because it seems kind of like esoteric to talk about flow. There's no like position that you can tell somebody to do flow, but flow is probably the number one thing you're looking for when you're trying to figure out how good a player is, right?
Yeah, good players just...
So define like do a step drill for us, and then define like what is flow and then how to get flow.
Do you want me to hit one?
Yep, in a step drill.
Okay.
If you can. And that's
like that?
15 yards further than your regular.
No.
That's a little further.
What's happening is the forces that I'm moving are always staying just slightly ahead of the golf club.
Yeah.
I don't know how to define it with words. That's just basically what's happening. So the club moves last, the force moves, then my body starts to wind. Force moves, then my body starts to unwind.
Right.
Club comes along.
So does that become an issue then when people are working on their swings and they go to the top and they stop and then they start trying to do stuff?
Well, you're missing how to move the forces at the right times. When you come to a stop, I don't mind if you stop and then you go, but see how there was a little bit of
you got the force going again.
I got the force going again before I started.
Show me the wrong way. Yeah, it's all together. Yeah.
Yeah. So it has to be tied together in the right order, so sequence is right.
I know something we talked about on the phone when we were talking about how you got good at golf was because we were talking a lot about positions and stuff, and then I told some of the guys this. I said that recently I've been feeling where there's this shadow in front of this force shadow that's in front of the motion, where I feel like there's a split second where the force is happening, and then in reality I catch up to that force that I've created. And then you're like, well, yeah, that's how I play now. Yeah, but right, is that right?
My golf swing is basically like that. I have a definite trigger move. So I'm sitting here like this with a little waggle, a mini Kyle Berkshire.
Yep.
And then when I get ready to go, there's a definite pressure shift to the front foot.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. So my trail foot's basically almost airborne, and then I go the other way.
Yeah.
And pressure moves into this foot, and it maxes out by right here. So I've hit my maximum amount of force I'm going to put in my back foot by the time the club is knee high, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And so from then on, I'm circling back toward the target. So I'm always just staying ahead of the golf club. That's basically the whole idea. I'm constantly ahead of the.
No, it was good.
That ball's flying good.
Yeah.
Get in the woods. One bounce in.
All right. Okay, so who's up to be our first demo here and wants to grab a driver? Oh, here we go. Judd's got his driver. Come on over, Judd. So tell me what Judd was working on in the school with iron. Yeah, whether he likes it or not.
So we started
and then how that can relate to his driver.
We started with Judd with some sequencing stuff.
Yeah.
Because his transition was what we would call a little top heavy. You started with the hands and arms, the club got a little bit pitched this way, and his lower body then in turn sucked under him like this. So I had you start off doing some, did we start at impact, or did we just do, I just had you moving kind of slow, right? And learning how to,
Deeper hip turn.
deep hip turn, arms back, and then having this motion bring the club to the ball, right?
Okay.
That's what we did.
All right, so let's see if for Judd, now what are you going to tell him for driver that's going to be different about that, or is it not?
I'm not going to tell him anything different.
Okay.
Figure out how to hit the driver with that motion.
Yeah.
Slow to start with, and then we'll build it, just like we did with the irons.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really good drill. All right.
Hey,
Applause for Judd.
that was success though. You did what we asked you to do.
All right, somebody hits it a little further than Judd is our friend over here, Bobby. Come on over, Bobby. So Bobby was watching our school, and he started talking some smack to Milo, saying that he can hit it further than him. So go. We always do this with the long hitters. Go a little face to face, see how the tight difference. So
Well, a lot.
Bobby's 6'4", college golfer. He's 18. So hit one for us, Bobby.
Got to hit right here.
And the one thing I wanted, that kind of one of the newer buzzwords, Milo, in golf instruction is slings, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's watch Bobby hit one. And when you think of a really short hitter and then a really long hitter like Bobby, what are slings when it comes to a golf swing, and how is... Wow, that was ball speed, incredible. All right, so hit another one, Bobby, and while he's hitting this ball, Milo,
Oh, he
tell
flew
us...
it in the trees over there.
Flew it in the trees. Tell us what are the slings that he's using?
So what slings are, it's basically our bodies are wound in a way where we have fascia that runs up and around